Wagon converter. So and transmission. So we had put it all back in. I did get it all back together last night, test it. Oh, I'll show you. I made a little hard line for it. Pretty happy with. And I'm getting a cover for the transmission. Gonna check on it today. Oh, and you can't see it. Well, you can probably see it if you really get down in there. That little loop right here. Just a nice little hard line. It only took me about 2 hours to make it because I needed to make it really tight. So it just has a really nice little hard line that just bypasses, so there's no restriction, there's no fluid restriction, anything there. Like an oil cooler. Obviously we'll run an oil cooler for the street, but for this application, exactly as it is, you don't need to run a cooler. Should not have to. So says everybody. Transmission and converter guys. Alright, transmission's back in the car. Bunch of new information, bunch of stuff that I just recently learned, like yesterday from Carl Rosler. So I never make, or actually I make a lot of assumptions in my life, but one assumption that I always make is I always assume I could be wrong on something. It's a good assumption to have. You should have that yourself. You could be wrong. You never know. And I think I'm wrong on something here. I think I messed something up. So Carl Rosler watches my video on the converter, immediately calls me up in the morning and says, hey, you know, that's wrong. You can't have 110 thousandths of converter clearance from the back of the pump. So remember, I showed you that 110 thousandths. And I'm going, well, why? He says, look, I want to have 187 thousandths there, at least, and really like to have 187. Says you could maybe go 125, but if you're 110, you're pretty tight, because what it does is when that converter, well, back up, let's go over here, look at this converter. The converter slides in there and goes clunk clunk, and it slides all the way back. And then I told you need to have that clearance in between the flex plate and the converter. Absolutely true. I thought that whole deal was just because of the crankshaft thrust, obviously, and you can't have it at the same time pushing against the pump in the transmission, because it ruins the pump in the transmission. That's what I thought the whole thing was about. So I didn't think those numbers were all that critical on the clearance in your converter to flex plate, which is just which ends up being this lip right here. These lips, these tangs drive an oil pump that's in the transmission. These tangs right here, these ledges, or whatever you want to call them, this portion of the converter, if it's too close to the transmission, it actually blocks off the feed holes that feed the converter. So I go, oh, okay, let me go down there and double check it, because I'm not the one that actually measured it. I had one of my guys measure it. I get down there and it's 82. I go, oh crap. So there's like a little oil passages literally right here as this thing's turning around, literally pointing right here. And when this gets real close, it just, like, imagine there's a hole here. This is the hole. And then here's the converter. When it's this far away, it's got lots of room to go around. When it's this far away, it has not much room to go through it. So I go, oh crap, how am I going to fix this thing? So I went down and, or actually I sent Ashley down to go get 2 mid plates, 90 thousandths thick mid plates, and then I'll trim this out. And what we'll actually do is I actually use this as a spacer. That space the transmission back a little bit. I have lots of room on my drive shaft. I have lots of room on my transmission mount. Don't care about that. And that gave me 90 plus 82, 180, whatever. It wasn't 91 in it. That's 170, 178.
172.
172. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, and then when I actually got down there, we put that in, and when I actually got down there, measured everything and reset it all up, it actually ends up about 100, and actually ends up a little over 190 total. It's really interesting because I did not know this. It might be a little hard to see, but hopefully you can see this. So the holes are coming out from this direction, okay? From the back forward. So they're right, and the pump spins and hits it. I'm not sure if you'd be able to see that. There's at like let's see, at about 2 o'clock position. Well, anyways, right at the 2 o'clock position is the hole. That is the main feed hole. And then over here at the, let's see, that is more like the 9 o'clock position. Right straight in there. That's the hole that comes in from the bottom of the transmission through the easy stage. So the main feed hole, you can't do anything about that one. Then the secondary feed hole, that's the one that it has a jet in it. That's the one we changed. That's the one we're trying to look at. So if I end up taking that jet out, which I probably will, on the bottom of the easy stage, like what I talked about, then that would give maximum oil through here. There would be no way, as far as I understand, of getting more oil through here. And it's interesting because it has to come up from around the outside of this shaft through here, and then it goes into the converter, and then it goes through the converter, twirls around, does all sorts of stupid stuff, and then comes back in this way and goes in between the input shaft and the pump shaft, or stator shaft. I'm not sure what they call that, but it goes through that gap right there. So it comes into the converter through here, goes through the converter, and then comes back into the transmission right through that gap all the way around this. So very interesting stuff. Perfect. So we're going to test that thing and see what it does, see if it's any quicker, see if it cools our charge down. And then if it doesn't, then what I'll do is I'll have, we'll take the pan off this thing, and I'll take that jet out underneath the easy stage. All right, so you just saw me put it on the two-step. So this is with the spare transmission with that extra spacing. So it's a little over 200, or right at 200 thousandths of clearance. So it definitely uncovers those holes that are in the front feed for the converter feed. Transmission is exactly the same. I want to see exactly what it did. I can tell you right now, it's quicker than what it was the last time I did it at the track. So we'll look at data here of how long it took, and that is no, I was going to put that in too. I think we're going to try it one more time too. Didn't put my feed in. Yeah, that is 3 seconds to on the two-step and 5 seconds to build the full boost. 16 pounds of boost right there. All right, now let's look at our exhaust, or I'm sorry, the transmission oil temperature. All right, it's 300, and it's still kind of high. All right, so I'm gonna. Now I wanted it's quicker, it sounds better, it is a little lower temperature. I want to go through, and I'm going to have, I'll get over, have Ashley drop the pan, and I'm going to take that jet out, because Carl said you can take that jet all the way out. Doesn't matter. Now, oh, before I forget, people keep on commenting, because they heard me talk about my bump video, where I did a bump on up on the lift. You can't do that. What the deal is you can check your two-step, you can do everything. You cannot let go of the button when it's up in the air, because it just winds up so fast. So that's why NHRA mandates that if you do a two-step check, that the car has to be off the ground. That's what NHRA mandates. So you can check it up in the air just like I am. You just cannot let go of the button. And what a bump does, the bump is literally milliseconds letting go of the button and reapplying the button. That's why it destroyed my transmission the last time. That was a while ago when I was testing the bump last year, actually, I think. So, anyways, you can do that. So, I'm gonna have Ashley take this thing apart. And then I can just put the same fluid and put everything right back in it, and we'll give her a try again. Yeah, we'll do that later today. That little short intro. I learned something. All right, now that was with the restrictor jet out. This is getting the maximum amount, as I can understand it, the maximum amount of oil possible to the converter. So we will download and see what we got here for information. And it wasn't, I thought it was about the same as far as I thought it was about the same as far as coming up on the two-step, so that was all right. I think I could probably make that a little bit better. I'll take a look at the data log here. I could probably make that just a tick quicker through there. But I think it made full boost fairly quickly. So like at import versus domestics, when I was still having a problem, it was really long, lazy, and it did take 7 seconds for total to get to max to full boost. So, which is at minimum 2 seconds too long. Now this is still 3 seconds to the two-step, so that's cool. That's 1.5 seconds earlier than at import versus domestic, and that is at full boost at 4.5, 4 3/4, 4.5 seconds. So that's pretty good. That is better, and that is with all the freaking charge pressure added, or not all the charge pressure. That's with all the oil volume to it. We'll see what kind of pressure it has. So we're at temperature. Now this is hot too. All right, so this is with transmission temp is already at, because that was basically saw 2 in a row there, so that is, everything's pretty hot right there. That's probably about as hot as you're gonna get it. And our charge temperature is 300 and about 380, but that's with really hot oil. And the last time I did this with where it was smoking because I was clearing out the turbo, so one video back, or a couple videos back, when I did it there, it was at 400 and it was 384. I think it was 400 and
17, wasn't it?
420. Yeah.
Yeah, 420.
Yeah, so 420. So that part is better. So I think that's all good. The next thing to do is I can't do it this week because I got to get Cletus McFarland's engine together, which is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to see that NA running on the dyno. So that's all going to be super cool. So come back for that next video. Cletus McFarland's SMX engine running on the dyno, naturally aspirated, no turbos, just to verify where everything's at. No oil in material, or no material in the oil, all that good stuff. After that, I'll put this thing on the dyno. I'll put it on the hub dyno, and we'll run it, and then we'll determine where we're slipping, if we need to make a stator change. So everything here is that's all pretty good. I'm pretty happy with everything that's there. It's definitely different, it's definitely cooler, and it's definitely quicker. So I'm happy with that. So anyways, I'm Steve Morris. Like, subscribe, make sure you're subscribed. Come back for the next video being Cletus's engine on the dyno.